What's up? Clearing Waivers podcast. My name is Josh. I'll be your host this week. Per usual, we've also have Brian and Kitty joining us again. Also per usual, thank you for joining us for this week. We hope you had a great holiday season. I hope Santa brought all the things that were on your Christmas list right to your doorstep, chimney, what have you. But we do appreciate you and hope you had a great holiday season. Moving on, Christmas is over, and I'm sad because of it. But we're moving on to New Year's and keep seeing the death to 2020 hashtag circulating about Twitter. So apparently people are ready for New Year's Eve to hit. But we do appreciate you one more time coming on and joining us for this week. We've got some things to talk about. We're going to clear the waivers with the Chiefs beating the Falcons on Sunday afternoon. Then we've got some sports-related New Year's Eve resolutions that we're going to give you. And then we're going to go to the new segment, Who Asked You? We've got some more questions that we have intercepted from the internet, including a new segment from our guy, Ben Rigby, new segment theme song. So we'll get to have Brian and Kitty react to that live on this podcast. But then we'll get into some shenanigans and call it a year at that point. But let's check in with Brian and Kitty tonight. Kitty, how was your Christmas, man?
That was a good Christmas. Just me and the parents this year. You know, got to keep it as small as possible this year. Mm-hmm. So it went well. Got to FaceTime with our brother's family, so got to see the relatives from afar. So worked out pretty well.
We did that as well. Worked out pretty well. We got the podcast setups extended out to the family. It was very interesting.
Right. There you go.
It was real high tech for the usual Christmas, that's for sure. Brian, how was your Christmas outside of what I know?
Oh, it was great. Definitely weird compared to usual years, as everyone experienced this year. But it was cool to kind of see Christmas through a 1-year-old die this year. Yeah. So it's definitely making it more fun with kids involved. And even when we were doing it over Zoom and they were listening to each other, talk to each other, I mean, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to watch.
They haven't got to see much of each other between our kids, and it doesn't matter. They seem to recognize each other. That's the magic of children to all the sink pisters out there. If you haven't had children yet, they're something else. Something else. But it's a lot of fun. But yeah, let's get back to what we're here. The reason for the week, the reason why all the sink pisters have joined us for this week. Let's get into clearing the waivers. Shout out to the shitty laptop.
We stay quiet before we have an edit point. So we're good to go.
Yep. We'll cut that right out. No, we're not. Chiefs beat the Falcons. The Piltry. What's that? The real pitiful Falcons.
Pilfery.
They beat the Falcons on Sunday, 17-14. Certainly a game I think the Chiefs should have lost. They had a very costly potential interception in the end zone with Patrick Mahomes throwing to Tyreek Hill in a weird. I mean, I feel comfortable throwing to Tyreek Hill in just about any situation, but a jump ball, probably not very comfortable with that. But it was dropped, and then the next play, Rob caught one in the end zone pretty much wide open, so the Chiefs pull ahead, and then the Falcons just drive down the field, miss the game-tying field goal, as Falcons do in their typical fashion. So Chiefs win 17-14, secure that number one AFC spot in the playoffs, and more importantly, the bye week. Per usual, we're going to check some standouts, what we kind of pulled out of this game. Brian, what do you got?
Well, the defense saved the day, really. The offense looked horrible all day. Patrick Mahomes looked pretty bad. I think as bad as we've ever seen him for an entire game. Mm-hmm. We talked before about how he's had bad halves, but then he comes out and just saves the day at the end. But that didn't really happen on Sunday, and it was really the defense stepped up. They got pressure on Matt Ryan with 4 sacks, 12 quarterback hits. They had a big fumble recovery. We had the big rundown on a turnover where Tyreek ran the guy down and saved what looked like it was going to be a sure touchdown. So I feel like the defense really stepped up and won this game and got them that rest that you'd like to see them get for that final week. So they get really 2 weeks of a bye for their main important players. You're still going to see a lot of starters that have to play just because of how NFL rosters are built. Mike Tomlin kind of touched on that with them saying Big Ben was going to sit out, but this isn't a preseason game because guys still got to play because we don't have 90-man rosters. So
right,
you're gonna see plenty of starters still out there. It's just not going to be your big guns. But I think the main takeaway was the defense finally stepped up and they won the game for them. And I'm so glad that there's no stress this week in week 17, knowing that you have the bye week. So I'm good with a couple of weeks here of no stress.
I completely agree. I don't love the fact that we're only get to see them for maybe once or twice in the next month. Yeah. But at the same time, it sure seems like this team could use a bye week or two. And speaking of that, and speaking of the defense, they all did this despite losing pretty much their top 3 or 4 linebackers for the game, and pretty much leaving Willie Gay. It was finally a Willie Gay sighting for a lot of reps. And then also Darius Harris was the player in the backfield. But it got a little interesting there with the lack of depth at the linebacker position. So they certainly could use the bye week for the linebackers for sure. Willie Gay did lead the team in tackles, but he also looked lost sometimes. So it sure we've called out the front office and Andy Reid for like what's happening? Why is he not playing? Well, I think that question was answered.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of heard that from the beginning from Craig Stout about how Anthony Hitchens kind of put people in place, tell them what they need to do, what their reads are on a play-by-play basis. And when he's out of the game, there's nobody out there to tell him what he needs to do. And Ben Neiman's having trouble on his own trying to figure out what the hell he's doing. And I mean, as you said, it kind of scared me right off the gate. They got Todd Gurley on a wheel route to beat the backup linebacker easily, and I thought, oh shit, they're just going to work this matchup all day long. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, teams do that early in their game scripts, and then they kind of just get away with it, get away from it. And it always just baffles me because I'm like, why don't you just keep attacking this? We're bad at covering athletic running backs and athletic tight ends, and for whatever reason, they just get away from that and they start going over elsewhere where we can cover people. I don't get it, but I'm glad they do.
Me wonders if Todd Gurley qualifies as an athletic running back anymore.
Well, he sure toasted this guy on the route down the sideline.
That one play. Yeah, that one play he did.
I'm just saying, I would have went back to that a couple more times.
What's that Toby Keith song? I'm not as good as I once was. Sure, I'm as good once as I ever was. We're gonna get copywritten infringement on that one.
Oh yeah,
I think you're okay on that one.
Nailed it so clearly. But more importantly, can we get L'Jarius Sneed a better number?
Oh my God!
Yep. The guy is a playmaker.
Wait. I didn't. The number is interesting. I thought you were just going to L'Jarius Sneed.
Somehow this guy got number 38, which is one of the ugliest numbers you see in football. I'm a big numbers guy, and I hate the number 38, and especially for a playmaking corner. I mean, we got to get this guy a better number. In college, he wore number 1 and number 24. Number 24 is available for this team. 24 is a cool number for a D-back. Yeah. I just want him out of 38. So let's work on that in the offseason. Let's get him out of 38 and into something a little sexier.
Maybe he was a big Ron Parker fan.
Or Kimball Anders fan.
Yep. Yep. I guess when we play the waiver wire waiting game, 38 should now be L'Jarius Sneed territory. For now, we'll see how it goes. But like you said, L'Jarius Sneed all over the place on Sunday, making sacks, making pass defense, defense-dids. I don't know how the pluralization of that is. But he was all over the place, looking like a real solid star. I mean, they were talking about the AP laboratory this year that you could probably make a pretty good case that he could be the defensive rookie of the year this year. And if he hadn't missed 3 or 4 games with a collarbone issue, he'd be right there in the conversation, I think, at this point. So I think L'Jarius Sneed is a real get for considering, where they got him in the draft. Or was he undrafted?
4th round pick.
4th round.
I think you're talking about Bo Pete Keys.
Probably so. Yep. But 4th round for a defensive starter is always good, but somebody who makes an impact like L'Jarius Sneed does, it just goes to show it's a credit to that front office finding a guy that good, and also a credit to L'Jarius Sneed for what he's done so far and kind of how he's adapted to the game. So looking forward to more with him. Hopefully he's not a Charvarius Ward, because he seems to be falling off after having a solid rookie year himself.
Don't give up on Charvarius.
He's
fine. He's just not a shutdown corner like people were hoping.
We'll see how it goes.
Undrafted guy we got out of that. So
true.
Let's
true.
Let's chill.
Frank Clark, Chris Jones, both making plays on that defense. Like you said, I think this defense should be credited with this win. That Atlanta offense, even without Julio Jones, still has plenty of weapons on it. So I think the defense should get a lot of credit for this win. But also, let's give some more credit out. Travis Kelce is a very good football player. If you didn't know, he is very, very good. Added 7 more receptions for 98 yards and a touchdown last week. He did have the lead for reception yards on the season among all pass catchers until that bastard Steph Diggs just went scorched earth on Monday Night Football, which absolutely dicked me out of a fantasy football championship, but I don't care. I'm past it. No big deal.
Oh, you care. We just don't care.
Okay. Yeah. Keep hearing that. Plenty of people care. I'm pretty sure. I'm sold that they are. Currently, he's at 1,416 yards. Second in the NFL. He has 94.4 yards per game, 4th in the NFL, 11 touchdowns, 5th in the NFL. He's also currently 2nd in Yak. Can you guys name the top guy?
Yak. Didn't even think about it. I'm gonna go with who's trying to think who gets a lot of short passes.
Is this a wide receiver or
if I tell you, it'll give him back. It's running back.
A running back, huh?
Christian
Probably
McCaffrey.
Kamara.
Kamara. Yep.
Yeah, Kamara.
Yep. I don't think McCaffrey qualified.
Played enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess if you're going per average.
Yep. But yeah, Travis Kelce, very, very good. Set multiple records last week. But yeah, I guess Brian, where are you on Travis Kelce? Do you think he's good?
He's not only good, Josh.
Is he as good as Darren Waller?
He left your boy Waller the dust. Darren Waller is tied in 2 in the league in receiving yards, and he is 337 yards behind him.
It's healthy.
I think that's more Derek Carr's fault than Darren
okay.
I think I did see that Darren Waller has 4 100-yard receiving games in the last 6 weeks, and Travis Kelce doesn't have 4 on the year. Well, that can't be true. I don't know.
No, he's got.
But
we would try to find a stat like that. Asshole.
But regardless, Travis Kelce is very good.
Yeah, he's still only 43 behind Diggs right now, which is insane.
Which I think I texted this in the group chat that, if he's got the lead, I kind of want to see him out there on week 17. And then the next play, he got a little nicked up on a non-contact injury. It was like, all right, maybe not. Maybe he can have the week off if they win this. And at the time, it looked like the Colts were manhandling the Steelers as well. So
yeah, got bigger goals.
We're going to be able to afford. Yeah,
I think he's okay with it.
He did set the most receiving yards by a tight end in a single season, breaking George Kittle's record. He's the only player with 1,000 plus receiving yards in each of the last 5 seasons. The only player.
Wow, that's crazy.
He's the only tight end with multiple 100 plus reception seasons. He tied the Chiefs record for most receptions by a tight end, formerly by Tony Gonzalez. So now he shares that crown. But yeah, I think Travis Kelce is one of those guys that will most definitely need this bye week, if not both of them. Yeah, looked a little nicked up. He's been a constant, and he cannot be left out of this offense, I don't think, at this point.
No, cannot afford without him.
There's been plenty of talk that he might be the offensive player of the year. That'd be very interesting. I could definitely support that at this point. But we'll see. And speaking of another award that we can kind of talk about, the MVP race. Last time we talked about it, Patrick Mahomes was making the absolute run with it. And that has since changed. Somehow, some would call that the clearing waivers bump or the clearing waivers drag down.
The curse.
Either way, if you end up in our best bet segment, you're sure to lose. But it's sure looking like Aaron Rodgers is potentially taking the favorite now. In fact, he is the favorite in Vegas at minus 250 to Mahomes at plus 220. And they will announce that winner the week before the Super Bowl. But I guess at this point, Kitty, between these two, who you got between Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes?
I'm taking Rodgers this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've done some looking on the internets recently just to do some little advanced stat scouting just to see what we can look at rating and all those bullshit stats and whatever. But I mean, I don't think QB or either the passer rating or the QBR is worth a damn.
I agree. Yep.
QBR might be a little better because it tries to take into account game situation, but probably still trash. ESPN, whatever developed it, they're dumb. So what I looked at was a couple stats on Twitter from the old Ben Baldwin. He calls himself the computer cowboy, and it's expected points added per play. Aaron Rodgers number 1, Mahomes 3, and then completion percentage over expected. Aaron Rodgers 2, Mahomes 12. So Aaron Rodgers looking pretty good to me.
Who was number 2 on that? Was that?
I think it may have been
Devontae Adams.
I think Josh Allen moved up to points added per play,
which he is
really. It's basically the expected points added per play is basically just quarterback and running back because it doesn't. I mean, it's more of those players get those numbers just because it's.
Josh Allen is both of those things.
Wide receiver dependent on the expected points added per play a little bit. So.
Well, I mean,
but I mean, I wouldn't
be a wide receiver.
It wouldn't be it's one of those things. I think both fan bases, no matter who wins or who loses, the other one's going to be pissed.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of I could see Mahomes winning it. I mean, there's no reason. There's very few and just minor reasons to say, oh, Mahomes is a little bit worse this year than Rodgers. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Or people, I like Mahomes better, so I'm voting for him. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. But I would go Rodgers this year.
Okay, Brian,
who if you're going to start a team, you're taking Mahomes because it's age-wise. But for this year alone, I got Rodgers this year.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Brian, and I'm going to be one of those guys that you said going to piss off the fan base if it goes the other way. But it doesn't really matter to me. If Rodgers wins it, I think, kudos to him. He's had a great year. He's got great numbers. Can't really argue any of that stuff. They're kind of in two highly different situations where Rodgers has an elite pass protecting O-line and one dominant wide receiver. And, Mahomes is kind of the opposite, whereas his O-line's been shoddy all year. I feel like if you want to look at just the elite plays and elite passes throughout the year, I think Mahomes' highlight film runs a lot deeper. You didn't see him sitting back there for 10 seconds and chucking deep balls down the field. He was usually running for his life, and throwing it around somebody or, over the top of somebody. So I feel like if you want to go with who impressed me the most as far as their play and making those completions and putting up those numbers, I feel like Mahomes had a more impressive year as far as just being the playmaker, the best playmaker in the league. We rewarded Lamar Jackson last year for being the elite playmaker in the league because he made plays that nobody else was even thinking about making. So that would be my only argument for Mahomes is I felt like he created more plays this year than Rodgers did, where Rodgers kind of let it play out and found the guy, and he knows, and he's got a great memory and great reading sense of the defense. He hardly ever turns it over, even if he doesn't have 40 touchdowns in a year. He almost never turns it over. So that's always going to be the case with Rodgers, and there's nothing against him. And if he wins it, I'm not going to argue about it. And I almost, in the back of my head, I kind of wish it does happen, because if it does play out to where the Chiefs play the Packers, give me the guy with the extra chip on his shoulder that says, you want to see something, I'm about to show you something. And so, I mean, if Rodgers gets it and they happen to match up, I got to think 15 is going to be bringing a little something extra to that game.
Oh, yeah. And if he's fired up, the rest of them are too.
Yep. And I got to think, I mean, I can't imagine anyone that's not a fan of the playoff team. I mean, you've got to be hoping for Chiefs-Packers just to get those two mano-a-mano for the Super Bowl would be just fantastic.
It would be glorious.
Especially this year. I mean, last year it would have been nice. You always want two solid quarterbacks, two good power offenses, and make the game last 5 hours. I don't care. I don't care. Just back and forth. Give me that Rams-Chiefs game from 2018. Just everybody back and forth, no matter what. No defense played. None.
I think it would be like that.
That would be fun. I'd be into that. I'd be very into that. I'm with you guys. I think Yeah, I think Rodgers is probably the guy, and at this point, I'm totally fine with that, especially if they do meet in the Super Bowl, and it kind of takes that competitive prick Patrick Mahomes to another level. I would be very, very into that. So, by the way, if it's the Chiefs and Packers in the Super Bowl, I'm going to take the over and Chiefs to cover for all the reasons we've kind of talked about.
Bets in.
Future best bets in.
Let's see how that goes. We're gonna need to get a whole lot better at best bets for me to be comfortable with that at this point. So yeah, let's lock that in. Chiefs are going to have the bye week this week. They do play the Chargers. I haven't seen who it would be. Chad Henne probably under center. I think Matt Moore is still in the practice squad currently, but probably won't see a lot of the starters. But hey, you kind of weren't already with all the injuries they've had. So the bye week is especially valuable, and then the extra bye week on top of that is even more so. So next time we'll see.
We get Clyde and Mitch back. I mean, that would be huge to the offense to get those guys.
I think I saw the other day that the Chiefs are not expecting to have Mitchell back for the playoffs, but we'll see. Great. Things can always change. The back injuries are always kind of shaky in that respect. So we'll move on to our sports-related New Year's resolutions. I wanted everybody to pick something that they are going to start doing or stop doing. I'm going to start with Brian here. That's my New Year's resolution, is starting. Brian, what are you going to stop or start doing with your New Year's resolution this year?
I am going to start being all in with our Mizzou sports, our Mizzou men's sports. I think I'm ready to plant my flag and say we have the right men's basketball coach and we have the right football coach. They're showing me a lot this year. I feel like if you would have polled the fan base last year in basketball, there's a lot of people that wanted to get rid of Konzo and move on, but they've showed so much improvement, I feel like, this year, and the offense looks so much more fluid. And so I like the fact that he's kind of adapted and allowed them to freely flow on offense instead of it looked so stagnant for the last couple of years. So he's kind of let it opened up, and he's got good connections in St. Louis. And Eli Drinkwitz in football is making quick connections in St. Louis, which is so important for the teams. And Drinkwitz, watching him coach this year, I felt like there were very few plays where I was upset with his game day decisions or their game day strategies. So I feel like he is the guy to run this team on offense and as a whole. He's got everybody on board, and the guys that did transfer out, I mean, good luck to them. But I think he's got a good thing going. The 2021 class right now in Rivals is number 20 in the nation. The 2022 class right now, even though it's early, is number 13. So he's not only recruiting locally, he's recruiting good players, and it happened in a hurry. I mean, when they brought him in, a lot of the Rock M Nation and stuff write articles and say, pump the brakes on your expectations, because usually first-year coaches are not going to recruit well when they're in a big conference, and it takes some time for them to show their worth as far as being a program, and that just hasn't been the case this year with him. He kind of came out running, and they won a lot more games than people expected them to, and they recruited a lot better than they expected to. So I'm on board. I'm ready to sign up for Konzo long term. I hope Eli sticks around for a long time too. So I'm all in. As Mizzou fans, we always just wait for something bad to happen. I'm not doing that. I'm in.
Auburn's going to come knocking for Drinkwitz. I have two questions about that. One, is there a point where you haven't been all in on Mizzou athletics?
Oh, 100%. I wanted to blame injuries for Konzo's bad teams here the last couple of years. He has been killed with injuries, but as we've heard Rance bitch about many times, the offense just looks so stagnant. We call timeouts come out. We don't run set plays ever.
Worst possession ever.
The offensively, this looks so lost and just standing around, and it was just so ugly to watch. But I feel like that's really turned around, and he has proven that he can develop guys if you give him the chance to build a program. He's tried to recruit like the top guys, like he got Porter that first year. He got some big 4-star guys, but his bread and butter is going to be developing guys through the program and getting guys to buy into the system, because he's always going to be defense first. And if you can't play defense, he's really got no place for you. So I think he's a program developing kind of guy. Like like I want to say like in the mold of like a Tom Izzo or something, where Izzo now gets high end guys, but he'd much rather have a guy that fits his mold and is going to buy into the program and develop. And he may not contribute much as a freshman, but when he's a junior, he's going to be a player for you. So it's just a different kind of coach than some other schools have as far as wanting instant satisfaction. And we kind of had some shit luck with Trey Jackson transferring out as a 4-star forward. We had Mario McKinney transfer out as a 4-star alum. You know, he was supposed to be a true son, was having his cousin was there before him. So he's had some talent kind of come and go, but now I think this year you're seeing guys that have developed through the program, and I think you're kind of seeing what it can be if he can get continuity going through this program. So I'm in with him. And as far as the other one goes, I wanted to work with Barry Odom, and it just didn't work.
Right.
I wanted it to work. I wanted him to be able to bring in an offensive guy in the mold of a Eli Drinkowitz, but this total basically rebrand, the new zoo, has been a breath of fresh air, really.
Well, that's my next question is how is this a repeat resolution from 2017 when Odom was brought on board and Konzo came in and got the Porters, and I mean it seems like that might have been the same case that year.
I mean the program when Odom came in was kind of in shambles. It wasn't very good, and they didn't expect much. They didn't pay him much because they didn't have to. And I mean, Konzo came with a splash by getting the Porter family on board.
Right.
And so, I mean, that got me very excited. But, I mean, he had kind of some short visits at other big schools with Tennessee and Cal and moved along. So
Missouri State, obviously, big school.
That's what I'm talking about, though, is you always have 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Right.
You always want to leave them in a good position to kick you in the nuts, because that's what this program has always done through the years is they bring you in, get you sucked in, and then they kick you right in the nuts and say
and then close the door.
What did you expect? We do this every year.
Well, I don't hate that. I hope you're right about all your points there. It does seem like the energy has changed a little bit. I do like both coaches for what they bring to the table. I think they both do something different, and I think that student athletes can certainly benefit from both of them. But we'll see. We'll see what the future lies. It looked like Mizzou basketball is doing pretty hot. Then they got the COVID bug, and we'll see what things. I think they got Tennessee tomorrow night.
They do,
and a big conference debut, or I guess
12
opening.
versus 7.
Yep. Oh. So it'll be a good game. So we'll be watching that for sure. But Kitty, what's your New Year's resolution for sports this year?
I wrote a couple down. A couple of them just no chance of happening. So I'm gonna go with skip by those. And I went to more of a real personal move here, and I wrote down stop getting so frustrated / angry on the golf course.
Okay.
I need to accept my mediocrity on the golf course.
You're not going to be making any official cuts anytime soon.
I am not as good as I think I am every time I step on that course. Every time I strap those golf shoes on, I'm thinking I'm shooting. I'm going to be close to par, boys. And then,
at least one ace. At least
3
one
holes
ace.
in, 6 over. All right, let's get this done. So,
time to drink.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm already drinking, so yeah. Sometimes it's just time to drink quicker. Yeah. So it's ridiculous.
You and Krampus out there on the fairways,
that's right.
Just soaking in the sun.
I need Krampus out there to help me out and give me some pointers how he bombs it.
So you're bringing it back to being a leisure sport. Is what you're saying?
I need to, yes, exactly. I mean, competitive with myself is okay. It's just not get so damn frustrated every time I'm out there. Because that's what the sport is built around doing, to frustrate.
For sure. Yep.
So you need to it's not easy to do, and maybe I should stop watching the pros. Maybe that'll help me out.
Yep.
So that was just it's probably not good for my whole well-being either to get so angry every Sunday or Saturday, just to get so pissed off. Just not good for my heart health. So I'm going to
Seems like your cholesterol spikes every Saturday morning about 10 o'clock.
Exactly. Man, you're just heart rate's beating real fast. You got a lot of weird things going on with your brain chemistry at 10 a.m. So work on that. Yeah. So.
Well, I like that. I like it.
Good
one to live by there. But again, is that something you're going to actually do? Is that one of them that's not going to try? Okay.
I'm gonna try. I mean, I think a lot of resolutions get broken. It's trying.
What did they say? Like 80% of resolutions are broken within 3 weeks.
I would think so. But most of those are dumb ones. Like, I'm gonna work out more. No, you're not.
Yeah. Some of us need to do that.
I know some of it. I mean, all of us need to do that.
Some of us don't have a metabolism like a goddamn 8-year-old.
I still need to work out. I don't. I still need to. So I mean, I just don't want to set up myself up for too lofty expectations.
Sure. Yeah.
Like one of the ones I wrote down.
Low.
Right. One of the ones I wrote down was to stop being upset about ESPN scorebug colors. Well, I'm never going to be not upset about that. So no.
Nor should you. That's an abomination, and it seems like the easiest thing to get right ever.
Yep.
It is. It very much is, and they get it wrong all the time.
Some millennials just coming in there trying to make some waves.
I gotta get a new job at ESPN graphics department and get this sorted out.
Yep.
With that department in the shape.
My sports New Year's resolution for 2021, I've kind of said this a few times, but it pertains to the Royals as often of the things that I do, but I'm going to stop treating them like they're rebuilding. Finally, hold them accountable for the things that they are saying. The last 3 years, they've given us the lip service of, well, we expect to win now. We're going to be competitive in every game and every at bat, every pitch. And I've been like, okay, that sounds great. But when they're out of it by June, I'll be like, well, they always were going to be rebuilding. This roster was not ever going to be a competing roster. At this point in the rebuild, soft rebuild, whatever you want to call it, that ship has sailed. I'm no longer giving them the benefit of that doubt. I'm going to hold them to expectations. And if you're not pulling your weight, then get on up out of here. I think it's time that we start holding them holding them accountable. And if you're not going to do that, then they're going to find somebody who will. And I think there's a few players that were kind of looking at that, looking right in the face of that. But the last contention window kind of seemed like it was shut early because they kind of failed to get off of the ground when the prospects were kind of coming up. So I'd like to see them kind of hold Lynch, hold Kowar, hold Lacey back until they are sprinting. If that's this year, if that's next year, I'm fine. I do not want to spend 3 seasons of all these pitchers and all these prospects cutting their teeth and then finally start to hit the ground running. Give me a strong veteran base. Salvi, Duffy, Carlos Santana, Mike Minor, I think are really good. Dozier, Keller, Stalmont, Mondesi, all these dudes have a lot of potential, and they need to be carrying the torch for when it's time to make that contention run. Lynch comes in, Kowar comes in, Lacey comes in, and just pushes them across the threshold. I'm no longer going to treat them as a rebuilding team. It's time to go.
That's right. 500's not good enough.
Not this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like you mentioned, that first time with the 2016 team was probably the one that just kind of, it was a weird try to hang on year for when they really should have just blown it up already at that year instead of trying to hang on for a year, which kind of slowed this obviously down by a little bit more than it should be. So,
and depending on, I mean, who knows what was potentially on the table for any of those guys. I mean, like that was about the time that the trade deadline bubble was starting to burst. No big of those big blockbuster deals seem to have gone the wayside on that year. But I mean, maybe the Chiefs kind of him and Han back and forth on whether they were going to buy or sell at the deadline may have kind of caused the market to kind of be slow. Maybe they were kind of a catalyst for that. So what?
Did you say Chiefs?
Chiefs. Maybe the Royals not kind of flip-flopping on what they're doing. Maybe that caused the market to be slow. I mean, who knows what was on the table at that point?
Well, obviously the market now is just whatever the Padres want to do, they're going to do.
Yep.
Padres very active the last 24 hours.
There's only a couple teams seem willing to do that right now. It's pretty wild.
And the Royals and the Chiefs are one of them.
Yep. Brought in Lev Bell.
Yep. The big signing for the Royals today was Irvin Santana. Welcome back. Minor league deal, but if he does make the major league roster, which probably isn't going to happen, is $1.75 million for the salary. But hey, yo, old friend, let's go. 38 years old.
Yep.
Yeah.
Spry.
Yeah. Well, just bring them all back. Gerard Dyson, Wade Davis. Just come on in. Kelvin Herrera. How's your elbow, man?
Johnny Gomes.
Yeah, Johnny. He can't be in Japan anymore, right? Is he Korea?
Oh, no. I picture him like bellied up at a bar somewhere somewhere tropical
with a shirt off,
for sure. Hanging out, having a good time.
Yep. Shout out to Johnny Gomes. Come on the pod. He might be the perfect Clearing Waivers podcast guest of all time. Might be the perfect one. But yeah, I'm not. That's my resolution. I'm going to start treating them like actual contenders, like they want to be treated, and the rebuild's over. So.
Well, it sounds like that's what Dayton wants you to think about them as. So we'll see.
Good.
They always say, like I said, they always say that, and I'm just like, well, okay, that'd be great, but whatever. You're not gonna do that. But
a lot of teams say that before the year. Right. Yeah, everyone, the fans know in their heart of hearts that they are still rebuilding.
Yes. Yep. But not anymore. 2021, new year, new chapter. Let's go. We're gonna get to the new segment, new-ish. Who asked you for the Clearing the Waivers? We got a new theme song that I am just debuting here. So everybody listen up. Shout out to Ben Rigby one more time for making this for us. But here we go.
So you replied to my tweet on one hot take, and I'm like, who asked you?
There was a few possibilities, but I'm glad he went with that one. That was pretty solid.
I like that a lot.
But who asked you, the segment where we intercept some questions that were not necessarily meant for us, and we're going to answer for you, even though you weren't expecting us to. The first one is from Seth Kaiser on Twitter, the real MN Chiefs fan, at real MN Chiefs fan, writes for The Athletic. He does a ton of stuff. Really good follow on Twitter. If you like the Chiefs, go check him out. But he's put out a tweet on Sunday, I believe, that says, is it just me, or is Chiefs Twitter as tense as it has ever been right now? I guess at this point, who wants it? Katie, do you want to answer this as the non-Chiefs guy?
I mean, it has to be. I mean, fans are fickle.
Yep.
I mean, how dare you guys be 14-1 after coming off Super Bowl victory? That's pathetic. Just pathetic. I mean, I think the biggest problem, I think all these fans are worried because the team keeps winning but not covering.
Yeah.
I believe the old adage is good teams win, great teams cover. So they're worried it's a good team, not a great one. So that'll get fans a little upset, a little tense. I mean, it's a bizarre, but as someone that's on the outside, I don't ever get any Chiefs tweets, so I imagine though it is very, very tense. Especially I got to think this weekend in that Atlanta game, it's not playing well in any phase of the game really, and just everyone had to be up in arms, yelling, all caps tweets getting sent off constantly, tagging players because people were jerks. So
don't do that. We need to stop doing that as a society.
We very much don't tag anybody unless you are replying specifically to somebody. Those should be the rules.
Those are the rules. Or maybe if you know them personally, that might also help.
Only options.
Keep DMing them. That's fine. Just don't tag them.
Right, exactly.
They can ignore most of that. Brian, where are you at on this Chiefs Twitter being tense right now?
Well, I just get the vibe that we've just got such a different mixture of fans right now that have never really experienced being the favorites as far as Chiefs fans go, especially. And when I talked about both feet in or 1 foot in, 1 foot out, I think Chiefs fans are just hesitant to completely buy in as being the favorite to win it all. Repeat. They're just expecting the D Ford moment to happen, or the Lynn Elliott game to happen, or the Marcus Mariota forward momentum stop game moment. It's just like they are always prepared to be devastated, and so they never want to fully embrace being the best team in NFL. And so I think you've got that. I think you've got some people that have bought into we are the best team, and even though we don't look like it every week in and week out, we got to listen to people on Twitter that want to say, well, the Bills are going to beat you guys because they're playing great right now, and you guys are playing your worst ball ever. So you got the battling of that and saying, yeah, but didn't you see us in the playoffs last year when we looked like shit for the first quarter and we came back and just dominated people, first 2 rounds of playoffs. So I think you just got such a mixture of fans that have bought in and want to fight for the Chiefs, and you have fans that say, yeah, they might have a point. They might have a point. This team's probably not that good, and something bad's going to happen, and they feel like it's kind of cursed, even though it's coming off Super Bowl win. They don't want to completely buy in, and I kind of experienced this, I guess, saw this happen when the Royals went to the 2014 World Series. When we were going through the playoffs in the 2015 World Series, or the playoffs, I felt like there were some fans that were just like, this team is just not the same as last year. I just don't feel like they don't have that camaraderie and that magic and stuff they had last year. I just don't see it happening. And then they won the freaking World Series. So It's just a fan base that's just been let down so much that they don't want to buy into their team actually being good. I just don't. Yeah. I don't know if it's trying to be humble or just trying to prepare themselves for the inevitable kick in the nuts. I don't know what it is, but I think that's what the tense feeling comes.
I think there's also, like you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but the fact that they are the ones with the target on their back, they're the ones that's the sports media is always rushing to their microphones on Monday morning saying X team is the new favorite because of what they did. And the Chiefs fans, the Chiefs players, Chiefs fans, the whole fan base, the whole kingdom is like, what? Why? And they feel like they have to respond and protect the dignity of the Kansas City Chiefs, whereas that's never been the case really. Even last year when they did win the Super Bowl, there were still teams that were probably favored and probably considered better. I mean, the Ravens, people still talk about the Ravens would be the antidote to beat the Chiefs because they were the only team built to keep up with them. So the fact that they are number one and catching so many ricochet shots about people liking other teams and just wanting to give the hot take, but also genuinely just want to praise a good performance. And the Chiefs fans over here either being like, well, you're not gonna beat the Chiefs right now, or well, you should be talking more about the Chiefs and how good they are. So I think that's probably some of it too, and that's probably a lot of the cause for the Chiefs fans potentially eating their own tail type of thing. It's a bunch of snakes eating their own tail type of thing. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. It is very tense around here. It also doesn't help that over the last 7 weeks, they've had one possession ball games every week. Last 7 weeks, they are 7-0, but that certainly stresses out a fan base at this point. So I think that's definitely the case. On to the next one here. Royals related here. This is from Royals Review to its followers regarding some of the rumors that the Reds were gauging interest in trading Mike Moustakas and his contract. Royals Review retweeted that with hinting that people, and I've seen this from multiple Royals Twitter followers, saying that they would be very interested in a Mike Moustakas reunion. And I'm going to start it off here because I'm pretty hot about this.
I was gonna, if you were gonna send it to one of us, I'd say no. Why don't you take this one, Josh, first?
I am very hot about this. I don't understand this at all. I understand where people are thinking that Dayton Moore talking about needing and wanting to add another left-handed bat. They can add Mike Moustakas, put him at third every day, send Hunter Dozier to a corner outfield spot. And then if Nicky Lopez struggles at second, you can do some more shuffling around to potentially cover that. Understand it. I do not understand why they think Mike Moustakas is the answer to that equation. He's 32 years old. He's owed $52 million over the next 3 seasons. And a lot of the Royals nerds, if you will, think that they're going to get some kind of great prospect from the Cincinnati Reds to take on Mike Moustakas' contract. That's just not going to happen. They're a rebuilding team in a small market that needs their prospects. I don't know who you're going to pull from that and what you're expecting those people to do, but it's not going to be worth what Mike Moustakas can or cannot do at the plate right now. He is, I brought it up. He slashed 250, 323, and 484 over the last 3 seasons, and 807 OPS. Seems fine. Mm-hmm. But it's just it's $52 million over the next 3 seasons. Cincinnati's not going to eat that contract in the slightest. That's what they're trying to get rid of his contract in general. So get it the hell out of here. I'm done with it. You're not going to pull like a Jonathan India, Tyler Stevenson, and Tyler Callahan. All those dudes might be in the mix, but every time I see one of these, hypothetical trade scenarios, I look at their prospects and think, oh, this person might, be justifiable. And then they get some kind of shitty soft hitting middle infielder that plays good defense and can run the bases. And you're like, what in the hell? I don't get this at all. What are we doing here? So I don't know what they're expecting to get out of these trades, but I'm big out on it. I'm out on that talk.
I don't understand also why would the Reds also give a prospect to the Royals for this?
Just to get out of this deal.
Just for the money alone. But that doesn't.
More or less, you just saw with the Yu Darvish trade. That's what the Cubs were trying to do. They got five lottery tickets.
Yeah, the Cubs, but the Cubs got those back, not the
right.
Not the
That's
Padres.
not the same situation.
Right. So I'm saying like if they're trading Moustakas and all his money, and they're gonna just the Reds would get people back. They're not gonna package prospects with Moustakas to go to the Royals. I just don't.
You might get a lotto ticket. You're not going to get an actual prospect.
Right.
Yeah, that don't make any sense to me.
And not only are you out on this, Josh, but the Kansas City Royals are out on this. When did we ever trade for bad contracts to take on salary that someone else was trying to dump? Yeah. We don't do that.
Never.
And we're not going to, even if it's one of our true sons coming back home.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably not worth the contract that's left in the deal. And on top of that, you see in Alec Lewis's predictions post today on The Athletic, he predicted that Bobby Witt Jr. makes his debut this year.
Ooh.
And if he is actually that close, even if he is close as far as starting next year, I don't want to sign up for 3 or 4 more years of Mike Moustakas.
Yeah,
I want to throw Bobby Witt Jr. at third or short, or one of those. Modesty goes, whoever goes to third. I picture Bobby Witt Jr. basically being like Alex Bregman, kind of an undersized third baseman that has more pop than you think and incredible defense. And if you can throw him if you can throw him at third base, bump like you said, Hunter Dozier out at the corner outfields. I would much rather find our stopgap in the outfield. If you want that left-handed bat, go get the Profar, go get the Schwarber, go get Derek Dietrich, get whoever it is for a 1 or 2 year deal. If Bobby Witt Jr. is that close to being ready, Dozier kicks out to the corners. And as I always said, I would love Witt to go back to second. And if Kyle Isbell is really this close to being there as well, I think he could be the other corner outfielder. And then you're just talking about trying to figure out long-term center field, which they're talking about Michael Taylor getting all the opportunities this year in center. There's guys behind him with Khalil Lee and all that stuff. But I'm just saying I'd rather find a stopgap now than sign up for 3 or 4 more years of Mike Moustakas. I would rather that money go to extensions for Soler, Salvi, Keller. Keep those guys around that you've got, because when you're talking about if you do trade for Moose, you throw Bobby Witt Jr. in at third. Now you're talking Moose playing DH basically. I would much rather sign up for 3 more years of Soler playing DH than Mike Moustakas playing DH.
Or Carlos Santana at that point, and you figure out what to do at first.
Yep,
exactly. Yeah, the 3 years is the biggest part of that deal. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, detractor.
Yeah,
it just doesn't.
The fourth year, if you don't want to sign up for his $20 million deal, it's a $4 million buyout. Yep.
Yeah.
So
you pay him $20 million or $4 million.
Yeah.
You're paying him 4 at age 36 to not play baseball next year.
Yep. So I don't want to see any more of this talk. Doesn't seem like any of us want it. I'm going to speak for Rance and saying, no, what are we doing? I'm going to go ahead and speak for all of us saying that the Clearing Waivers podcast, we love Moose for everything he's done. He'll be forever Royal 100%. Hopefully he retires a Royal. I'm totally in for a 1-day contract. Bring him back. Do not trade for his contract right now. I'm out on it. Sounds like everybody is. I did not see the piece about Alec Lewis and potentially having Bobby Witt, but that excites me even more. I think he could definitely be something very, very special. So we're all out on this. So Dayton, while you're watching us here, go ahead and hang up the phone when the Reds are calling on that. Maybe see what Eugenio Suarez would require. Maybe we'll see.
Or Jesse Winker.
Jesse Winker. Yep. third question, final question, was from @John Heyman. He is a baseball guy. He has a lot of insider knowledge. He was responding to a tweet talking about what he thought was fancy dining. And he says, "You mean Red Lobster isn't fine dining?" And I got a lot of questions about this. Legitimately never been to Red Lobster. So
What?
Going off pure internet research here.
You never took him to a Red Lobster lunch, BK, while he was at Black and Veatch. That's surprising.
I guess not.
Never been there. So I'm going to have to defer to you guys on this one for now, and then give my opinion on the back end. But Kitty, what's your response to Red Lobster being a fine dining restaurant?
It is not fine dining.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that the dining isn't fine.
Okay.
I mean, I
like
enjoy
that saying a lot.
I enjoy seafood, and Red Lobster is a perfectly good seafood restaurant. It's not Eddie V's steakhouse and whatever else it is called down on the plaza. It's not that good, but I mean, it's a solid restaurant. Get a nice piece of fish there, get those cheddar biscuits. It does what it needs to do for where it's at in the dining hierarchy.
I guess that's what we're trying to answer here is what would you say you do here, Red Lobster?
Exactly. It's that $15 to $20 entree restaurant. It's good. It's fine. I've eaten there before. I'll eat there again.
Brian, where are you at on this?
This is completely dependent on what age you are. Because if you're a child, even through college probably, and you've never really experienced actual fine dining, you think Red Lobster is the shit. And it's a special occasion place. Like Kitty said, the cheddar biscuits alone are worth the trip. It's the equivalent of Olive Garden, really.
Yep,
and
that's
you've been to Olive Garden, perfectly good food. It's a nice experience. It's not fine dining, but if you're like 8 or 10 years old and you go there, you're like, my God, this must be what it's like to be rich. Be able to eat this food all the time. But then you graduate college and you realize, oh, there's actual fine dining places that I've just never even knew existed. So it's just completely dependent on what age you are.
Yeah. So we've kind of hit on the two things at my points where it feels like a fine dining restaurant would not have cheddar biscuits for one thing. It'd probably be some fancy artisan bread,
some dry roll,
that you have to spread your own butter on or something. And then I don't think fine dining restaurants have kids menus, and they definitely do at Red Lobster. But on Grubhub, they have 3 out of $5 signs, meaning it's pretty damn expensive for what it is. No,
unless you go during Endless Shrimp, which is one of my favorite weeks.
Shrimp Fest or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, get the scampi and the fried
Toyotathon. So it's like it's
doing a combo package with Toyota,
right? Hey, they might get creative in the post-pandemic time, but it seems like it's stuck somewhere in between these two, because it's definitely not like, it's probably less casual than Applebee's, but it's not as fancy as Jimmy's Steakhouse or whatever Kitty mentioned. So definitely stuck right there in Red Lobster. Glad we agree on that. That's
let's just
doesn't
say
sound like I'm missing much.
Someone that we all know got engaged at Red Lobster.
Okay.
We'll not name names, but that it did occur, and we all know them.
Shout out to that person. It was Rance, wasn't it? It was Rance. Let's just say it was Rance.
Yeah, we'll just start that rumor.
That's the new inside joke for when he comes back. For we ask if he's gotten engaged at Red Lobster.
It was fine enough for them. Let's
sure.
Say that.
And we're not here to judge. It's just the question was about fine dining. So whoever you are, sorry, we aren't judging. Red Lobster is a fine establishment. Let's move on to the shenanigans for the week before I step on any more toes.
DFA is in the house tonight.
Computer is absolutely killing it on these theme songs tonight. I tell you what,
it really is.
If we have any rich sink pissers, go ahead and buy us a new computer. That'd be great. You can gift it to us like an OnlyFans account. I've heard. I don't know how that works, but We got DFA this week. Only 3 of us. Kitty's got the question, so it's going to be Brian and me versus Kitty this week. So, Kitty, take it away.
All right. This one I think might be a little tough, but I think it's possible.
Yeah.
So,
great start.
A lot of stuff last night kept talking about how the Buffalo Bills won the NFC East. First time since 2008. Someone besides the Patriots had won the NFC East. So I decided to go back to 2008 and see who the division winners were and who were the quarterbacks that started the playoff games for those teams. And I'll list off the division winners. So you have to tell me the quarterbacks that started the playoff game for those teams.
Is this only division winners, or
yes.
Is this whoever played? Okay.
No wild card team. So AFC East. You got something to write this down?
Yep.
AFC East was Dolphins.
Oh no.
AFC North, Steelers. AFC South, Titans. AFC West, Chargers. NFC East, Giants. NFC North, Vikings. NFC South, Panthers. And NFC West, Arizona Cardinals. I feel like 3 of these are probably layups. You should be able to get through this pretty easily, and then it's where do we go next?
Yeah.
There's
certainly some problem children in this. Brian, you can go ahead. You can start us off.
Yeah,
here.
Anyone who's feeling comfortable with that one of those first 3 that they should be able to get.
And this could be any year since 2008.
No, this is who started the 2008 playoff games.
Oh, this is just 2008.
Yeah, who started the 2008 playoff games for these teams?
Yeah,
some of these.
2008. Yeah. I got to get my mind right here. 12 years ago.
Got some franchise QBs in there, and then you got some non-franchise QBs in there.
All right.
I mean, 2 of these guys are still playing.
Yep. That's what I have as well.
Yeah. I think you're ready. Let's have you go first, Josh, because it sounds like BK still noodling stuff around in there.
Well, Pittsburgh is certainly Big Ben.
That is correct.
Brian, did you come up with any answers yet?
How about Vikings Dante Culpepper?
No, he was not there still. Going for the home run shot here early.
Well, I knew he had that was probably much earlier because he had a run where they had like 13-3 one year.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
I'll take the other layup as the Giants of Eli Manning.
Correct. Should be one more layup in there.
2008. How about Cardinals Kurt Warner?
That is correct. That was not the layup I was going for. But that's a great call.
I was just trying to figure out if that was Carson Palmer or if that was the John Skelton year.
The old Johnny Skelts. Oh my God, that year. Woo.
I think the other layup is old Phillip Rivers in San Diego.
That is correct. All right. So now the fun begins.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, fun is a relative term, basically, just for me, basically, because you guys are the ones having to struggle for names on this list. Yeah. So we're down to Dolphins, Titans, Vikings, and Panthers starters. I feel like the Panthers is probably the one you guys have a good shot at. The other 3 are going to be a little tougher.
This may be way too early, but how about Jake Delhomme?
That is correct.
Yeah, that's the only one I could think of.
Jake Delhomme is correct. All right. Now, yes. I had those as the 3 green lights and 3 yellow lights. Now these last 3 are stoplights.
I've got a weird guess.
Dolphins, Titans, and Vikings.
I'm going to take a shot at the Vikings here with Tarvaris Jackson.
Look at this kid. He's got it. That I thought was the one they wouldn't get.
Wow.
It's Tarvaris Jackson. I love it. What a pull.
I had to circle back. I knew it was Jackson. I could not for the life of me locate Tarvaris.
I probably would have just given it to you with Jackson.
Bo Jackson.
unless you give me the wrong initial. All right. Pretty impressive from Josh so far.
God.
We got Titans and Dolphins. These are tough.
How about Titans Vince Young?
Is not Vince Young. That's a good guess, though. I can't remember when he started or when he played, but had to be around there.
I've used 2 options at least then.
That's 2 for, Josh is still no options. He's still getting his swings in the major still.
Was the Dolphins the Chad Pennington?
Oh, my goodness, this kid.
On fire.
He's got another one. My word, that's impressive. Pennington. I was surprised how good he was down there.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He had a couple good years in Miami.
Did he beat Brady twice that year or just once?
Just once, because this was the first time that the Dolphins or the Patriots lost twice in a year. Just because it was last night they showed that so many times. But yeah, I mean, Pennington going down there. Old Chad. Because that was the team that the Dolphins, since they took out the Patriots, that was the year Pats went 11-5 and missed the playoffs. I think it was.
Oh, wow.
I think that was the maybe in the year Brady got hurt.
Which we were talking about in the chat that there's going to be multiple 10-win AFC teams potentially out of the playoffs this year.
Yeah, because
Titans might be one of them.
Wasn't it like there's going to be one AFC team at 10 wins at 10 wins or more going to miss?
That's wild.
Titans, Browns, Dolphins, or Colts, I think are the 4 that have or I guess Ravens could still do it too if all those.
Yep.
Ravens probably won't lose to the Bengals, but you never know. All right, so the Titans, last team on the board.
I think this was before his time, but it's the only name I can come up with, and Marcus Mariota.
It is before his time.
Yeah. I'm out.
All right, Josh, you got 3 guesses at this.
Pull one more.
Can you pull the Titans QB?
For some reason, I have it pictured in my head that Kerry Collins was a quarterback in Tennessee. So let's say Kerry Collins.
0 strikes for Josh. Gets it done with
Nails
Kerry
it.
Collins. My word.
2008 was a great year for Josh. He remembered it for some reason.
I feel like I went
Apparently,
back when I did this. I don't know if you remember the DFA question about quarterbacks that threw for less than 150 yards and won a playoff game.
Oh, that could have been in that that year.
Delhomme was in that, yeah. Kerry Collins, I think,
Josh.
was also in that.
Wow.
Impressive.
I don't think I'll ever have a performance better than that, guys. I think I should just probably close up shop and.
It's hard to beat that.
Wow. I can't believe Kerry Collins was the answer.
Well, yeah, I wrote down some hints because I had the Pennington hint was going to be drafted by other team in division.
Yeah.
Jets.
And then I was gonna give Kerry Collins. didn't know how good of a hint I want to give. Either the Panthers drafted him, or that he started the Super Bowl for the Giants. I could probably would have said NFC team just to try to get a little less specific.
I forgot about that entirely.
Yeah,
Interesting. I like
Good
that question.
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd get with 0 strikes somebody, but that's impressive. Good work.
Tavares Jackson.
Yeah, that one. Jesus Christ! Look on it. Like, come on.
What
That
a
was the guy.
pull.
I was supposed to give you the hint of he passed away in a car accident. That was supposed to be the.
And the thing is, like, I can't even Culpepper, obviously, and I'd have to sit here and think just as hard about any quarterback for the Vikings between Culpepper and Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because I had Brad Johnson written down, but he was much before that, I think. I can't remember if he went back there and played again.
Had to be around that time.
Because he left there, I think, and went and played in Tampa. And then I think he went back. I don't know. He played some years there.
Yeah.
I had him written down.
Shout out to RIP Tarvaris Jackson.
Could have been Joe Webb, too.
Oh, yeah.
Right. The Joe Webb game.
Well, we're going to get into the waiver wire this week. I think we got a pretty decent one here to kind of cap off 2020. So we're capping off 2020 with our favorite things or the best things that happened in this dumpster fire of a year, 2020. Brian wins the poll for his 4-man golf scramble team made of Christmas characters.
All right.
Oh, nice.
I came in second, and then nobody else got a single vote out of the other two of you.
I don't think you put this up for a vote, if you ask me. Then
I did. It's on our Clearing Waivers Twitter account at Clearing Waivers. Shout out to the 8 sink pissers that voted for it. We appreciate you. And
you're wrong.
You for voting.
Thanks for voting.
Not a lot of Krampus fans in there. A lot of
what is wrong with these guys? I hate Krampus so much.
Everybody wants to golf with Jesus and the old man from the Christmas Story. Apparently,
these guys want to golf with Jesus. What a bunch of weirdos.
But we're gonna go with Brian's gonna start us off, then me, and then Kitty. So Brian, what is your number one story of the year 2020?
Well, it's hard to believe that it happened in 2020 because it feels like it was about 3 years ago. But back in February, our Chiefs won a Super Bowl, first Super Bowl of our lifetime. So I got to put that number one with a bullet. Chiefs Super Bowl, best thing of 2020.
I think
that's going to be the recurring theme, I think, at this point. Like the research that I was doing to find these, it felt like legitimately years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to keep saying it, but some of these are just crazy that they were part of this, and that happened to be one of them. The Chiefs had a parade, they won the Super Bowl, all that happened. I mean, we knew about COVID at the parade. there were no stateside cases at that point, or not enough to diminish the party. Yeah, but we did celebrate that Chiefs Super Bowl for sure. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. It's fine. I'm going to go with my first pick here, and I think also Royals related, but Brady Singer and Chris Bubich not only making their debut, but also looking solid. It kind of puts they're the first ones to get to the shore, the first part of the wave that gets to the shore, and they held their own and pitched quite well in their rookie debut, weird 2020 season. So I thought that was a big deal, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing them in the future, as well as their other counterparts as the prospect court coming up.
Yep. I like that.
Give me Singer and Bubich. Kitty.
All right. What I liked in 2020 is the Bengals drafted what looks to be a franchise QB.
Yeah.
Now,
I thought we were going to have pretty predictable first 3 picks.
Yeah. Now, will they do right by him and actually draft offensive linemen or sign offensive linemen in the offseason? Well, jury's out. So we'll see what happens next year. But I'm hopeful they don't ruin him too quickly. So because that's a definite possibility with this Bengals franchise.
So I think we all know where Brian and I sit on this. And Kitty, I'm probably pretty sure that you are, so we should probably ask Rance this. But I think there's a legitimate question: would you rather have Joe Burrow at this point or Trevor Lawrence? I think the 3 of us are sold on Burrow at this point, and I don't think any of us are buying Trevor Lawrence.
I think just because you've already seen at least Burrow play 10 games in the league, so you've got that.
A lot less risk.
He's done it. Right, he's done it already. He looked good in 10 games.
Plus, I don't want to punch Joe Burrow in the face.
Well, what if Trevor Lawrence shaves his head like all
Justin Herbert?
Justin Herbert did. Maybe you can feel. Somehow Herbert got more punchable cutting his hair short. That was a shock to me.
Yep.
So maybe the hair is maybe Trevor Lawrence needs the hair.
Every time I see Justin Herbert with that new haircut, it reminds me of Brendan Dassey from Making a Murderer for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's it. That is the face I couldn't place.
Yeah. He's got the acne face.
He's so young still. He's got a little acne going on still. Yeah.
So he wants to watch wrestling.
Just wants
to. That's the
go
face.
Watch WrestleMania yet.
Face. Goodness. Thank you for that.
That's the first thing I saw, and I haven't been able to unsee it since. So, Kitty, kick off second round here. What's your favorite thing about 2020?
The NBA All-Star game, Elam ending.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I totally forgot about that.
I can't believe that was this year either. Now it feels like it was, but that was just one of those things that such a nice change for the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we're playing to a number. Then it finally made those guys seemingly care a little bit more in the fourth quarter of an NBA All-Star game.
I think the charity part thing was big too, right?
Yeah. Also, they did the charity. Whoever won each quarter got money for their favorite charity. So that was just nice little enhancements to an All-Star game, where All-Star games are usually boring as hell and just don't have a lot to them. So that just kind of increased the watchability and competitive factors for that game.
That was certainly one of those things. Like, I'm not the biggest NBA fan, but when I started watching it, like, you realize when you're watching something special, something like you don't normally see in every day, and even every All-Star game. You know that they're all capable of doing awesome things, but man, when you're seeing it, you're just like totally present. You're kind of recognizing it for what it is, and it was spectacular. Love that pick. I'm going to go back to something a little bit before that, but back when all this shut down, all sports were shut down, we got one thing that gave us a little bit of competitive, fun sports action, and that was the match between Brady and Manning and Tiger and Phil. I'm not a golf guy, but I watched every second of that, and I was glued to it. It was not interesting, and then it got real interesting. But the match was one of my favorite things of 2020, just because it gave us the first little ounce of sports that we hadn't had in like 3 months.
I like that. It's definitely on my list.
That was a big one. And it was just kind of fun seeing those guys. Also, it's just fun to see put pros up against pretty good, pretty good above average golfers that are in that low single digit handicaps, and just see how much better the pros still are than these guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't watch either of the other two, but that first one I liked really, really
and having them mic'd up the whole time actually added an element to it too.
Yep. Bringing in Charles Barkley for the shit talking was a great touch. Brian, we're back to you.
Well, when you started off your explanation here, I thought for sure you were going with this pick, because just when we needed it most, Netflix gave us the Tiger King. We needed the Tiger King to happen so badly because nobody had anything to watch. It was no sports. We needed this viral show to come out about these horrible human beings, so we could all have hot takes, hot opinions. So the next time you actually talked with your family or your friends, you had something to talk about. And you had, 99% of the people think Carol Baskin killed her husband. So might be a few people out there that'll argue with you on that, but
that bitch, Carol Baskin.
Just one of the most off the wall entertaining shows that we've seen in years, just out of nowhere. I saw no hype about it coming in. It's just kind of like grassroots built it. Netflix kind of just did this dirty trick where they just dropped it out there and they said, you guys just wait for this to catch fire. And it absolutely did, because it was right around the time where people had got to the end of their list on Netflix, and they're like, there's nothing to watch anymore. It was so boring. And then that little gem got dropped in our laps, and it was all people could talk about for the next 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't do social media and you only lived on Netflix, you'd be like, why is Tiger King trending for the 4th week in a row? I guess I have to watch this now.
Yep.
And every single turn you can imagine, and in every turn that you couldn't, was loaded in that documentary. Mm-hmm. Terrible people, but it was very, very good. Well timed.
Yep. Number 3 thing that was best about 2020 was COVID gave us a reason to avoid people if we wanted to at any moment.
That is on my list.
If you didn't want to go to a kid's birthday, if you didn't want to go to a wedding, it was your perfect excuse to get out of it, just to avoid people. You're just like, well, I'm just not feeling too comfortable about it all. And everyone, they have to come back and say, we totally understand. It's just totally up to you. That's totally fine. And you just sit back like, God damn it, this feels good.
to get out of jail free.
I should have known I wouldn't get that back around to me with you picking up there 2 more choices.
Yep. The guy that wants to be invisible.
Yeah,
Like,
the
The
guy
guy that
that-
wants to be invisible and teleport out of every social situation.
Weren't you also a shapeshifter?
Yep. Shapeshifter. Yep. I was going to be somebody else for the rest of my life.
Yep. 3 out of 4 of your superpowers just
Avoid
have some
situations.
Avoid
Yeah,
I
just to
love
avoid everything.
situations.
Yeah, basically, the COVID excuse is basically the single guys. My kids have something.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Bingo.
Or if you don't have kids, can't do it. COVID. So
Kids
Yeah.
running a fever. I don't know.
yeah,
what
kids got a
those people-
fever. We can't leave the house tonight.
Which Brian and I both have young ones here during this whole thing. And I seem to remember that my kid the first time around had a lot more colds and fevers and stuff than the kid the second time around. I think that's got to have something to do with the fact that nobody's getting around, passing germs around to each other, and then giving them to my kid that just throws them in my throat as often as physically possible.
100%.
So there are a few silver linings to this mass pandemic, but leave it up to the Clearing Waivers podcast to focus on the positives here.
Yep.
That's what we do.
I saw some lists out there. I searched around for best things about 2020, and people were way too sentimental and mushy. I was like, I liked it for all the opposite reasons that you're bringing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I had the same problem with some of this when I was searching too. Because I was like, okay, what's going on? Oh, come on.
No,
Get out of here with that.
definitely not that. You got to read more books. Get out of here.
Yep. No.
Got to read more Twitter.
Yeah.
That's right. Just give me some more doom scrolling.
Right.
We're back to me, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going with the one I've shouted out multiple times. I'm the only one who appreciates this on this podcast. But Hamilton the musical came on July 4th, 2020. I'd been waiting for it for literal years, and we finally got it, and it lived up to the hype. So you can have your Tiger King. I got a piece of cultural American history.
Okay.
Hamilton.
That's
the
all
musical.
yours.
Yep.
You could have picked that like 80th. And we wouldn't have
Probably.
taken it.
Still have not watched that, so I'm still on the.
You're not going to.
About.
You're not going to.
Don't see you getting Disney Plus anytime soon.
No.
It's true. So, with that said, I'm not watching that. But what I did watch and what I was super pumped to see win an Oscar this year was Parasite.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Foreign language film wins an Oscar. How about it? Yeah, in your face, America. You suck. You are trash. Go Korean films. Let's dominate the rest of the Oscars.
What a
Nah, just-
shansky.
Hey, I like to enjoy my movies by reading them.
Yeah.
It's just who I am as a person. That's why Inglourious Bastards is so good. Get to read about 75% of that movie. So just solid. No, it's just a great movie. So hope everyone has seen it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Oscar winner for a reason.
It was very good.
And then, what's that?
Was it streaming on Amazon Prime or is it just Hulu? It was for free whenever I watched it.
I don't know. I went. Actually, that's one of the one I did go see in theaters.
Ooh, look at you.
I know. Hoity-toity.
Yeah.
It was a packed theater over the.
Yeah.
That was the.
Because it was tough to find in the theaters there for a little while.
Yeah, there
back
wasn't-
when it was like really hitting hype. It was tough to find in Kansas City.
Yeah, and it was only in the smaller AMCs. Didn't get the big theaters. But I think Hulu had a bunch of his other movies, so it probably was on Hulu at some point.
Bong Joon-ho.
Sounds right.
So Kitty gets Parasite with his third pick. Kitty, what is your fourth pick to close out your draft?
My fourth pick is Vin Diesel and Jeremy Renner putting out music in 2020.
I like the Vin Diesel one.
I just the Renner stuff is mediocre at best.
Oh, sure.
And the funniest part to me about the Vin Diesel stuff was the premiere of it was on the Kelly Clarkson show where they had no one in the audience. It was just a bunch of giant iPads with people slowly just dancing around to the Vin Diesel's tunes. This is one of the dumbest developments of 2020 that Vin Diesel is releasing music and Renner put out his second album. What is happening? What is
Vin
going
Diesel's
on?
like house music, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I mean, he's basically, I think he's angling to get on the Fast and Furious soundtrack.
I mean, that
The next
song
movie.
deserves to be on there.
Kind of has to be on the next soundtrack.
Whatever he wants.
I'm into it. Just make another one. I don't care.
Yep.
That's right. Well, I guess, yeah, I wonder if he's going to be in number, because 9's finished.
Done.
They
Yep.
just postponed it from, it was going to release in April of this year. Now it's going to be, I assume, April or May of 2021.
God, can you imagine watching?
I can't believe that was this year too. Goodness
Fast and
gracious.
Furious at a drive-in. Can you imagine that?
Oh, just so many revved engines. The whole
All the
movie.
revved up, man. They're gonna be so jacked.
He's so good.
That's the new thing we need to add to our premiere night.
Find a drive-in for Fast and Furious.
Drive-in. Yep.
I'm in.
I like it. My final pick of my favorite things that happened in 2020. I got two of them that I really, really like, and I probably should have just skipped Hamilton altogether because it's probably not going to be received. But I think I'm going to go with the Pentagon releasing proof, like video and images of UFOs. Nobody fucking cared. Not a single person batted an eye. It's like if you were paying attention, you're like, yeah, we've been trying to say this for years. And if you weren't paying attention, then you just went about your day. But it was just a wild thing to throw into 2020 and nobody care about.
Yeah. I didn't see the images or the video. I remember hearing that Israeli dude saying UFOs are real. Everyone's covering it up. I remember seeing that that story come out, but I didn't see the Pentagon that put out.
It's impressive.
Well.
It's because they have it's like a 10-minute long video and they show like the airspeed that they're currently going, and it's wild. It's pretty impressive. Definitely.
Yeah, no one cared.
Nobody cared.
No one gave a shit.
Nope. We had nothing going on and still didn't care.
That's insane.
We were doom scrolling and that just came and went.
Yeah.
Came and
UFOs,
went.
whatever.
Brian, you are up to close out the draft.
Well, I'm kind of shocked how golf-centric our draft is going to be, but I got to stick true to my board. And I loved that in 2020, Bryson DeChambeau just got steroided out of his mind and became like this super huge dude that changed the game and is driving it 400 yards. And it's just became fascinating to watch him go against just regular golfers, which the regular golfers are way better than any of us.
Yep.
But DeChambeau was just leaving them in the dust as far as driving goes and distances with his irons and stuff. And I thought that was just so fascinating to watch. He's a polarizing dude because I feel like a lot of people hated him before. And now he's trying to put off like his fun, nice guy image too. And like they catch him like bitching at the cameraman for making him, making him look bad, and it's bad for his brand and all this shit. And so it's like he's so conflicted on what kind of guy he's going to be. He won't embrace the heel. He's trying to be the nice guy while being this just huge, gigantic monster. I mean, I wish he would embrace the heel and just be like, catch me on 400, bitch,
Yep.
Yes, that is exactly who he should become. I agree 100%. He should embrace. Like you said, he's got the heel personality. He's basically holding back right now with his, like you said, happy-go-lucky. Oh, I'm just having fun out here. But then he yells at, how dare that cameraman put his camera on me while I'm walking off the green after missing a putt? How dare?
Sure.
That's what they do, dum-dum. Yeah, you got to embrace the heel. Like he's embraced the heel. I actually like him more now.
Let his roid rage go.
Yeah, I like him more now than I did before because he's just a jag-off. He was a jag-off before he got roid raged out. And, I mean, there's videos of him just reading greens forever and then missing putts. It's like, well, you could have done that without reading the green for 15 minutes.
And he tries to sound smarter than everyone. He's super nerdy with his explanations and all that shit.
He just, he thinks he's the smartest guy out in the world. Ugh.
Yep.
But I love that he added that storyline to golf tournaments because I think it made them all more interesting.
And it was really big when golf was the first thing to come back, and everyone is one of the bigger sports to come back. Like, oh, we can watch this. And Bryson just decided to eat protein shakes only for 10 hours a day. Awesome.
Yep, I loved it.
I got to give a shout out to my one I was struggling with, but apparently 130,000 people signed a petition to rename Columbus, Ohio, Flavor Town.
I saw that.
That's very, very funny to me.
I'm in for that too. Rename every Columbus in America Flavor Town. Let's not stop at Ohio. Let's do it for every Columbus.
Do it all of them. Yep.
For every state.
The fact that I gotta think that the percentage of people that actually care about something enough to go sign this petition is like 1 in 20, maybe. So knowing that 130,000 people did just tells me that there's like 2 million people out here that are 100% in favor of naming Columbus. I don't know what the population of Columbus is, but buddy, you're going to change your name to Flavortown if people get real.
Oh yeah.
I'm 100% for that too.
It's happening.
I love it.
Get it on the ballot. It's going to happen.
That's right. It'd be Bodie McBoatson City or whatever that was.
Bodie McBoatface.
Well, let's go to everybody's favorite segment except for ours, the best bet. Hey, it's the best bet. Hey, it's the best bet. Last week I mentioned something about turning over a new leaf, and this is going to be the week where everything turns around and we start winning all of our bets. And by winning all of our bets, clearly I meant that we're winning none of our bets because we went 0-4.
Amazing.
Shout out to the Colts for blowing that lead.
Yeah.
Douchebags.
There's a lot of shout outs. Fucking Dolphins.
Dolphins really shat the bed on that round.
That was a crazy finish of that game.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Titans just getting boat raced in Green Bay.
Yeah. That was one of those where, apparently the Titans didn't know it was going to snow or maybe in Green Bay or something.
I don't know.
Kind of looked like.
You'd think they'd be built perfectly for snow as a dominant run game and play action.
Every time Tannehill dropped back to pass, it was a Green Bay cornerback was on the ball swatting it down 100% of the time, or he was getting sacked. I mean, they look like an elite offense that night. Don't get it, but whatever. This is going to be our week, guys.
Yes,
this is it. Brian, you're going to start us off right now. Go ahead with your best bet for this week.
Well, we all know when you have a loser week, you double down next week. I have 2 picks this week.
Okay.
I like it.
We're going back to Green Bay. That's going in Chicago. The Packers love ruining the Bears' dreams. The Bears need this win to get in the playoffs. The Packers are trying to get the 1 seed in the bye. Packers laying 5.5. We saw this game earlier in the year, and Rodgers just shredded this Bears defense. They could have named their number on the day. I think it ended up being 41-25. It could have been 61-25 if they really wanted it to be. So I think laying the 5.5 is easy money. And I'm also going to go college football, New Year's Day. I think Ohio State can keep it close and possibly even win the game against Clemson. So I think giving them 7.5 points is crazy town. I'm not that impressed with Clemson this year. I still am yet to be wowed by Trevor Lawrence. I know he's supposed to be some great
generational talent.
Oh, get out of here with generational talent. Ohio State, I felt like if you watched that semifinal last year, I thought the Ohio State was the better team in that game and just kind of lost it. So if I'm getting 7.5 points, buddy, give me Ohio State. Keep it close. Maybe even sprinkle some money line there.
Okay.
I would agree 100% with Ohio State was the better team last year than Clemson in that game. There was 3 drives where they stalled out inside the 10-yard line. And I settled for 3 field goals instead of getting maybe even just 2 touchdowns and a field goal. So I mean, they should have had that game.
Yep.
You said Crazy Town. That is a little known sister town to Flavor Town. Just a little FYI. But speaking of Ohio State and failures, Dwayne Haskins, that whole thing happened in this year 2020. Happy trails to Dwayne Haskins on his at least time in Washington is now done.
Yep.
I'm going to go next, and since you already brought up the Green Bay and Chicago game, I am 0-4 in my last 4, 1-6 in my last 7. So I got to change up the process here. So what I did, I randomly chose a game, and then
I like it.
Went with who I thought would win that game. and then I went the opposite direction.
Fading yourself.
Naturally, I got the worst one to do it on because it seems like Green Bay was definitely the lock on this one. So I randomly got assigned the Green Bay Chicago 5.5 point spread. Thought the Green Bay would take it. So I'm naturally going to go Bears plus 5.5 against the Green Bay Packers this week. I have no reason other than the universe told me I needed to do this. And my best hope is that Bear weather keeps the scoring low. That's all I got.
We saw that it worked well last week for the Titans.
Yep, it worked out well.
It does.
So if you're gambling at home, that is a double down on the Packers.
Which all makes the Chicago plus 5.5 make all the more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Kitty, what's the final best bet of the week or best
All right,
bets? Did you do the same thing?
I did not take two. Thought about it, but didn't like the other ones. I hate this week. Sucks for NFL a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
a lot of variables up in the air.
Like the Green Bay one, they win, they get the 1 seed. So they're the one team that really controls their destiny the most of any of these teams. Because the Steelers are already, like you said, sitting Big Ben. And then how long does that go with the Bills Dolphins game? I feel like the Bills need to win that, but then they see that Big Ben's not playing. The Steelers fall behind early. To the Bills start sitting guys. They start pulling guys at halftime, or whatever. So I decided I'm going to take that Sunday night game. Washington football team -1.5 at Philly. Give me Washington. I'm banking on Alex Smith coming back to play. If Alex Smith plays, I don't see Philly beating him. Rookie QB in Jalen Hurts against that defensive front for Washington.
Phenom quarterback. Phenom quarterback.
Give me Washington.
Interesting.
I like that.
Interesting.
Hell, I'll take as long as it's basically not Haskins playing QB for Washington. Give me Washington. That dude was. I mean, if Alex Smith, I think everyone probably saw the same thing on Twitter. But if Alex Smith's leg wasn't hurt, Haskins wouldn't even. He'd have been gone before he left the strip club that Tuesday night or whatever it was.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
They needed 2 QBs healthy to play that game last week, and so that's why I've got to think for sure Alex Smith will be healthy enough to play this week.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Haskins would still be there.
It's very interesting.
That game should be a beautiful disaster.
I mean, because no matter whoever wins that Giants-Dallas game, is at that point essentially tied for the lead.
Still in it, yep.
And if Philly wins, the Dallas and Giants winner gets the NFC East. So the Giants and Dallas somehow are still alive for a playoff spot, which is insane.
Unbelievable.
All Washington had to do, if they would have beat Carolina last week, but Haskins couldn't get that done, it'd be over. But this is perfect, even better.
The fact that Washington could still be in it and they do not know who's playing quarterback is so very funny. 2020 is a weird year, man.
Well, then to 2020. That Rams Cardinals games could be Streveler versus Walford.
Yep.
That should be. I hope that happens. I really want that to happen. That's for a playoff spot too.
Give me
the winners. I think the winner's in on that game.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh man. Well, that's going to do it for the Clearing Waivers podcast this week. We once again, I said it like 17 times right up top, but we do appreciate each and every one of you spending the time with us this week and every week. We really, really dig having you guys on board. Go share it with a friend or a family member. If you're him and Han are out sharing it, maybe we say some things like maybe they got engaged in a Red Lobster and we just shit talked it for 10 minutes. If you're a little bit worried about that, I'm sure they're cool with it. They're fine. We'll probably say something that's going to offend somebody at some point anytime. But as long as we're not canceled for it, it's a win. But we appreciate all the support. We appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate my co-host Brian and Kitty. Rants, you can fuck off. I hate you. Just kidding. Love you, buddy. But yeah, I guess for us, Happy New Year. We'll see you on the other side of 2021. And ta-ta for now.
The day is dark. close to the flames. Don't go, oh, somebody walking away. Hold your body close to the flames. Don't go. A page is burning, will all be dead under virgin snow. I have faith that nobody else can protect you, no. A page is burning, will all be dead under virgin snow. So hold your body close to the flames. Close to the flame.